Dara.
I'm Sean.
And we're living on coffee and dreams, and that's ironic because today we are talking about dreams and how to support your partner when they come to you with an idea and
Dreams.
they have a dream and they want to pursue it, and all the many emotions that you might feel trying to be a supportive spouse.
Yeah, so this came up because I told her I wanted to become a member of the circus, and she said no.
And I was so not affirming.
He
can't really juggle.
Whoa. I can juggle.
I know.
I
I
juggle.
wanted you to have a moment to brag.
Yeah. The sad part is when I juggle, I have to go. If I stop that, the juggling stops.
It falls apart.
But tightrope walker. I'm scared of heights, so it was only gonna be about 1 foot up. But I was gonna put like water underneath it. Make it more exciting.
Right, so you can see the predicament I'm in to try to support this dream.
Support these dreams, honey. Support them. That's all I ask.
Not much. But really, I think this. Well, you're supporting a dream that I should never be pursuing, and that is my dream of never being on Dancing with the Stars. And so because we are choreographing a dance for our wedding, and I'm not a very good dancer.
I'll put it that way. She's working on it. She's putting a lot of effort in.
But you're supportive, and thank you, Groupon, for giving us 4 lessons.
This segment is sponsored by Groupon.
The instructor already said she thinks we're going to need more than 4.
She's like, you only about 1?
And I feel like we were doing really good. I mean, it was just choreographing moves like musical theater. I mean, it wasn't like we were doing any crazy flips.
Yeah, it was pretty normal. It's pretty normal.
Anyway.
It seemed pretty. Long story short.
Yeah.
So this episode is about supporting your significant other, your partner's dreams.
Right.
Or not supporting their dreams.
Or how to help
so,
redirect them if it needs to be rejected, like the circus idea.
Circus idea out, Dancing with the Stars in, because I so want that footage. So when it comes to supporting someone's dreams, I think we both agree, and probably most of the people, you need to support your significant other one's dreams. I mean, it's it encourages them, it helps them be stronger, even if sometimes their ideas are stupid. You still need to support. I know. You still need to support them. Now, you might want to try to talk them out of it if it's really ridiculous. But maybe you have an example. Do you have any examples?
Yes. Okay. So I think a lot of times it comes from a good place. Like nobody wants. It takes bravery to go to your spouse and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?" Like that's taking a little bit of a leap of faith. So most of the time, the ideas are at least going to be, they're not going to be far-fetched. Like, I want to become a professional dancer. Like, hopefully you're not with somebody who's totally disillusioned by their skills. Yeah. But a lot of times, we can respond out of our own fear, or like just the dynamic of how will that change the relationship, maybe financially, or if there's kids involved, like time management of starting a new project. So this is also, I think, above and beyond like a hobby. Like, hey, I really need to get back in shape. Would you be cool with me going to the gym?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors when taking on a dream. Okay?
A dream.
So you going and doing an extracurricular activity like working out or getting with your buddies to jam some music or something on a once in a while Saturday or something.
With no idea of like we're gonna be famous.
We're gonna get the band back together.
That's not what we're talking about, because I think that's a hobby and everybody should have hobbies. I'm a big believer in having fun and creating more joy in your life. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about like, hey, I've been thinking about starting my own company, or things that require the whole entire relationship to possibly really change for a season of your life.
Yeah. I mean, there's sacrifices. What we're talking about is a relationship where the two of you guys are going to embark upon one or the other person's dream, and it's going to require both you guys to invest time and energy or money. If you happen to tap into savings because he wants to start a pool company and he wants to buy all the equipment, all the stuff necessary for something like that.
Which brings me to my first point that actually I think is important, is start small and create boundaries.
Yeah.
Don't risk it all on something because you're trying to be supportive when it could have major consequences if it goes wrong or right even. So start small. So,
it's like
prove your theory.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that was talking about when you're trying to create a business, one of the most important things is you got to test your market. Okay, so if you want to come up with something that is profound, it's huge, and it's going to change people's lives, but it's only going to change 1 out of a million people's lives. Okay, that is really hard to get in front of 1 out of a million people, okay? Depending on how you're advertising or marketing.
Right.
What you want to do is you kind of want to look at what your dream is and make sure it's has a chance. Don't be trying to,
But that's the beauty of starting small, is
Yes.
you can test it. It's like a child learning to swim. Don't throw them in the deep end. Put on the floaties and start, just splashing around, getting used to the water.
Oh wait, you said put floaties on.
Yeah.
My bad.
I knew you were gonna go
My
there.
bad.
I knew you were gonna have to be. I set that up for
Drown
you.
children. That's what this podcast is about.
That's not. No, is this gonna become a weird meme or get canceled? No, we're not suggesting that. But like, for instance, I have a girlfriend who went to her spouse and he really wanted her to get a traditional part-time job to just bring in more money for their family, but she really didn't want to do that. She had a dream of crocheting and starting to basically do how-to videos on YouTube, which might sound like, well,
I would have laughed at that dream.
Okay, but the crazy thing is he was supportive because he knew she was passionate about it. He knew she was really good in front of a camera, and that if she could just put together a schedule and be consistent and start small and test it out, he would be willing to give her that opportunity before having to go and find a traditional part-time job.
Right.
Well, it turns out she's a year in and she's making
Killing
tons
it.
of money
Killing
off of
it.
advertisements and different things and selling her patterns. And kudos, she's very talented and she was very consistent. But if he had said no to that, it would have crushed her. She may have never wanted to dream again because she felt like, oh, this will just be another silly idea. And they are making much more money by her doing something she loves now than she would have made hourly at a part-time job.
I would have never thought crocheting would have made money.
Yeah.
But it turns out
anything-
there's tons of people who want to watch somebody crochet.
I think the thing is if you have a talent and you're passionate and you're willing to start small and be consistent, anything can generate money over time. And so that's why it's
But look at what her business design. Her business design was, hey, I crochet. I like crocheting. I'm going to videotape some crocheting. I'm going to do it on the regular basis.
Right.
I think she started with twice a week where she was pumping out these videos.
Yeah. And she researched a ton. Like, she really tried to be as professional just coming out of the gate as possible to really know, like, is this something I can do?
Yeah, millions of views of little ladies watching another lady crochet.
We don't know their
They're all really old ladies. I'm assuming.
A
It's
lot
all
of people
assumptions.
like to crochet, or they want to learn.
Yeah.
We live in like Texas, so
I was just
don't
talking
wanna
with my
crochet
7-year-old
like
the
a
other day. I'm
scarf,
like, do you want to play Fortnite? And he goes, Dad, I want to crochet. That's what he said.
Yeah, right.
No, that's not what he said.
No, actually, he wants to start a Fortnite thing.
Yes.
So I think starting small and then encouraging, and if it needs to be a little guided or recalculated a little bit, being willing to have those conversations and not acting out of your own insecurity or fear of, well, what if this fails? Don't start there, right? Like, if you come to me about something, my first response should be a supportive response, not, well, what does this mean if this like totally, makes our life, worse. Like, I should have the benefit of the doubt that I believe in you.
You gotta just weigh your options. Be smart about the decision. Talk to your partner. Make sure that they're on the understanding of where your passion. And I would strongly suggest don't try to do any kind of dream without passion. If you think that you can make money doing something, is different than being passionate about this, because your success will be way more enjoyable, or even your failure will be still more enjoyable if you actually enjoy what you're doing while you do it.
Failure being enjoyable, that's a hard one for me, but it's true. I mean, because you learn and then you reset.
Yeah,
and
you
become
do.
resilient.
You learn from your mistakes. You work on this thing better. You do something a little different the next time. I was watching some stuff on podcasts on how to market and advertise these, and this guy was giving tips and tricks, and he said he didn't learn a lot of these things till like 1,500 episodes in.
Which is crazy.
And so at the same time, I'm watching him now. He's getting my view. I'm finally listening to him.
Right.
But it took him 1,499 videos to get to this video that I watched.
Yikes.
So, sometimes you have to be patient, and you got to encourage this dream over longevity. The most important thing is to be encouraging. Make sure that you're showing your attention to it. You don't want to, oh yeah, honey, go crochet. I'll be in here watching the football game.
Yeah.
I would assume that he's in there helping, maybe set up the lights, or helping her with her website or different things.
Yeah,
that,
you
a
have
team
to be,
can
you
do.
have to be supportive.
Yeah.
So now, kind of changing gears. So I have another girlfriend, without giving too much information, and she's kind of in a season where she was doing a lot of things, and her spouse was very supportive, but now it's kind of gotten where the whole balance of their family dynamic, trying to juggle his needs and the kids and different things, is out of whack, because she's actually having some success in some of her passions. So what do you do when you're having to balance, I guess, a lot of different things? Because you want to be supportive, but then the
how much is your spouse
up.
willing to sacrifice?
I think
that's something you probably need to have early in the conversation. Is, hey, buckle up. This is what it's going to take. This is what I anticipate it's going to take from our financials. From if I have to quit my job, how much time it's going to take, how many years,
and
it's
maybe
going to take.
Instead of buckle up, hey, would you be willing to go on this journey?
Right, and that's what I meant by buckle up. You always buckle up when you're traveling on a journey.
That's true.
My grandmother always said
that's true. I think so. That's part of setting expectations. I think one of the problems with this particular situation is that there were no expectations set. It was just kind of run with it, and then running looked like other things falling apart.
Well, let's be clear. So she had a job. She was a teacher. During
I don't want to. No one's gonna want to be our friends.
I'm gonna put her name at the bottom and her cell phone number. Feel
No,
free to reach out. No, here's what I'm trying to get to.
No one's gonna want their story shared.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is she had a job.
Right.
COVID hit.
Right.
That job went away. And so she was tending to the children all day. And some people they love staying home all day and tending to kids. She's more of an extrovert. She wanted to get out and kind of do some things. So she looked into doing some entertainment type stuff.
Photography, all sorts of things that she's really good at.
Real passionate, and she has talent.
And her husband is a sweetheart, so this is not a bad thing. It's just
he was really supportive, But at some point, he kind of goes, "Hey, can you choose one or two of these and focus on these instead of kind of doing too many dreams at once?"
Yeah, and so maybe that's part of it too. Is even if you could see yourself and you're passionate about a lot of things, start with one thing. Start small. Create healthy expectations, and don't pursue everything you could be good at all at the same time.
Right.
Because it's hard to do everything well.
Yeah.
I think you can, but
very few people can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
Elon Musk is one of those very few people that can diversify his time.
Right.
But I think he says he sleeps 3 hours a day. That's
and that's for most people.
He got a divorce. I think he
So
might
he
have
didn't
two.
do everything. Everything well.
What I'm more saying is it's important while you're doing this journey is again to communicate to your partner, make sure they're on board.
Right.
Make sure that they understand what they are going to have to sacrifice, and then almost find that kind of benchmark, that line when you start to cross it, you need to respect your partner and go, hey, I'm getting more gigs, I'm doing more of this, whatever these things are. Is it cool if I take this? And instead of just saying yes and then going to your partner and saying, hey, by the way, Friday you got to watch the kids, I have this going on.
And this is gonna sound like the weirdest thing coming out of my mouth, because I'm not organization is not my strength. So for me to say and have a calendar seems almost not very authentic, but I think by having some things that you can physically see to say, this is a date night, we're going to put all this away, we're going to focus on us. This is a day where I'm going to catch up on some just chore-like things that we can tackle together. This is going to be a really big work day, so I just need your support. I think scheduling helps some of this, even if scheduling isn't your strength, maybe a shared calendar on your phones, something to just
figure out what's going to work with the two of you guys.
Yeah,
that's
you have to be on the same page.
Because there's nothing more defeating than failure after failure after failure. I mean, let's say that I came to you with a dream, you supported me 1,000,000%, and then I got lazy, or I didn't do what I was needed to do, or it didn't work out. Now I come to you with another dream. You're supportive, and I come to you another dream. you're supportive. At some point, there might be apprehension on your part by saying, hey, I've supported the last 4 ideas and all 4 of these failed. How are you going to make this the 5th one different than the other 4?
Right, and that's kind of sounds like a serial dreamer in the sense that hopefully if you're with somebody or you married someone who's that way, and you probably were attracted to that. Like my father.
She's saying it's your fault.
No, but like my father always has dreams, and a lot of those dreams work out, and then some don't. But that's very much who he is, to always have new dreams, and like that's a quality that people really love about him. But if you're married to someone like that, I can see how it would be frustrating if some of those things, and especially depending on your personality, if you need a very stable, secure environment and home, it's really hard to risk and to leap. But I think there's calculated risks, and there are things you can do to start small, to prove concepts, and then to grow as they grow. And if they don't, then tweak it. I mean, yeah, and so I guess since we've literally used every single other person as an example.
Oh, can I use one of mine?
I was going to say we should probably talk about like us and how this plays out in our life, because we both are dreamers.
Yeah, we have big dreams,
and we both like are always coming to each other with like ideas, basically probably around one thing we're pursuing, but like maybe like, hey, what if we did it this way? So ours is more kind of defining specific steps for that big dream, which is great.
Yeah.
So
we got 2 brains on a project. I think it's always better.
It's always better.
And that's why we're going back and hashing it again, is when you have your partner on board, having the 2 of you guys think about what's working, what's not, because I'm really good with numbers, I'm really good with math,
Thank
or I'm really
God.
good with marketing, or different things like that.
Not.
And when it comes to her, she's really good at other things. So, it works well with us, but there might be 2 people that are identical. And that means that you need to figure out those other elements. How are you going to, if neither one of you guys are good at math, how are you going to do your analytics and different things that need to be done on your consumers, or,
Very true.
So those types of things, when you get to that point or that threshold where you're making money, and maybe not grand piles, but you got consumers or customers or viewers or whatever is coming with your dream, you need to figure out how to analyze that data and make sure that you're working harder or smarter, not harder.
True. So my first Bible drop here.
Bible drop.
Right in Genesis, I mean, God creates and then sees it's not good for man to be alone. So the whole concept of partnering in everything. I mean, their job was to cultivate the land and to be responsible for what God had given them. So there's this partnership that is supposed to take place from the very beginning of time. So
from the second book. Well, actually, I think it happened in the first book.
First book, Genesis.
Chapter. I mean, first book, second chapter.
Second chapter. There you go.
Yeah, I'm getting so good at this.
Hey.
Maybe one day I'll be a preacher. Who knows?
Oh yes,
Maybe not.
Or in the circus. See all these dreams I have to support.
Hey, I'm just telling you.
So like talk about one that's like legit, or I can, so that just people can maybe see how this plays out for us. Not that we're experts, but this is how we're navigating currently dreams, and we've just heard so many friends talk about how they're wrestling or making it work, and so we just thought it would be a fun thing for you guys to comment on, because it seems like a lot of people have dreams, especially after COVID. People really began to think about, what do I want my life to look like? What are new opportunities, or what am I sick of doing? Because it was kind of a wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people of,
it changed a lot of businesses, changed a lot of people's work. I mean, I got tons of friends that went into the office 9 to 5, and now they're working from home. And
it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, and they're spending more time with the kids, especially when the kids were staying home during that COVID world. And they realized how hard it was to be a stay-at-home parent, and they appreciated their significant other,
which is a good
so
thing.
much more.
Yeah.
And on the other side, there was the other side where, they spent too much time at the house and they got miserable. So it's important for you.
But it was a reality check nonetheless.
The most important piece about what we can take out of what's happened in the past, what your dreams are, is nothing is easy. And
Okay, so talk about yours.
With my dreams.
I don't know, just something that, or I can, about how we're doing this.
Well, I got a buddy of mine who, a longtime buddy, 20 plus years, and him and I worked in the industry together, and he was a general manager of one of the comedy clubs, and he decided he was wanted to change, and his wife, she was just pregnant, and he decided to get into stock trading, and start doing, the moving money, using their money to make money. He went to college for it, but when he was working in the comedy business, had nothing to do with the business degree he got. So he decided, hey, I'm going to go start working for myself, start stock trading, moving Bitcoin, and it's funny because every time something happens, he hits me up. He's like, oh, you got to do this, and of course I never listen. Like he gave me Bitcoin, 5 years ago. He's like, here's $20 worth of Bitcoin. Now you can buy more Bitcoin. I'm like, great.
Our Bitcoin's not doing well.
No, that's the Bitcoin we have is literally the money he gave us.
I'm locked out. I don't know my password.
Oh my gosh.
I only have 4 more tries. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, she's terrible with passwords. So if her business was passwords, I'm gonna strike that dream down.
I would gladly.
But she supported
listen.
it. What I'm saying is my buddy's wife supported him 100%.
And now they're doing great.
And he's doing great.
So there's a success
so
story.
It's important for you to realize the opportunities that you fell in love with this person for a reason. Like
right.
Dara, for instance. Okay.
Oh dear.
Dara is a phenomenal writer. She's really good. And
I'll pay you later.
yeah, I know. That's I'm gonna put that on the tab. No, but she's really, really good, and I like to read, and I read her stuff, and it's just like, man, you just hit this nail on the head, and so she's working on her book, and she's about to have it wrapped up, and. This is one of those dreams, and there's without a doubt, I'm way more supportive than she is sometimes to herself.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because
I doubt more than he does. I think
she comes to me all the time, like, I don't know, I'm like, I'm sorry, you are really good at this, and I think that's one of those things where when someone has doubts in that kind of dream, sometimes you just gotta push through. I mean, if you look at like Bezos, Amazon dude, okay, everybody thinks, oh, he created Amazon. His wife was there from day one.
Amen.
She was there
Shout
supporting
out to the
him.
women supporting men's
She
dreams.
was helping package and helping with the book things and all the deals and all that. And then when they got divorced just recently, everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's getting half of the money. No, she was
built
there.
it.
I
She built
guarantee there was days
Yeah.
where he was too tired to go into work and she handled stuff, or she came up with an idea or an angle or something that she brought to the table. Who knows? She maybe came up with the whole idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. She won't return any of my phone calls. I hear she's rich. But what I'm getting to is support. And when someone gets,
Side note too. So sometimes support looks like cheering from like a distance and helping with other things so they can pursue it.
Right.
Other times you really can partner together, and I think that depends on the relationship. Because some people should not work together that are married. Like that is like a recipe for disaster. I think we're a unique situation where we work really well together. Yeah. And so you got to know that about your dynamic.
You guys are fighting over everything all day. There's no reason for you guys to get in a business together.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it's like people say, having a kid's going to fix your relationship, and it's the opposite. It makes it harder.
I have family friends, and they've been married for like 30 something years, and they've always worked together no matter what the business is, and they still to this day work together. And it's the cutest thing because they really support each other, and they're so awesome, like with their relationship, but as a team working. And that's kind of cool because it's like, wow, they spend so much time together, but they're literally financially in such a great position because they both have strengths that they bring to the table, and they've just been always able to work and trust each other. I mean, who can you trust more than your spouse?
I think you bring up a good point. When you're looking at your dream, make sure that your spouse, is not just supportive, but they can contribute in some way, shape, or form.
Hopefully.
Maybe it's, taking more time to help with the lawn work or something while you're working on it. Maybe it's watching the kids more, or maybe it's getting another job.
It's the marketing. I mean, that's how it can look so different for every couple.
I've heard before where people, the wife, while the husband or fiance is going to college, the wife or girlfriend or fiance will go get a second job to support them. while they get to their spot. And then when they get their degree and they can get out there, then she goes and goes to college and he supports. So, and vice versa. I'm not, the guy first, the girl first. All I'm saying is, there's ways you can support them outside of just, in the business or fingers in there. But, really, any way you can support them is the most important, unless it's a ridiculous idea. Now, if it's a ridiculous idea, okay, how do you nicely, without discouraging their creativity or their dreams or their aspirations and making them depressed or how do you do that? How do you shut down a dumb idea?
Well, this brings me to my next Bible verse.
Ooh.
I know, Romans 12:10. It says to be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourselves. So I think you have to start by honor and love and not have the temptation to say, well, that's a stupid idea, and to make them not feel honored, because if they brought it to you and they weren't being silly like the circus, they obviously thought it was something they should or could do. So I think showing honor in the way you approach it and maybe helping them rethink it, or maybe giving them a little opportunity to even fail and just say, hey, I want to, how can I support this? But let's just make sure we start small. And maybe not right away clip their wings.
So why did you shut me down with the whole circus? You didn't even give me a chance with that. Okay.
Maybe it would be good. See what I did there?
What's the guy that has a top hat? He's at the beginning, and he's like the ring guy.
I've heard you sing songs from The Greatest Showman, so maybe I can redirect you and say, how about a musical about a circus?
I just want to be on that swing that she was on, where she swings around.
We're both so afraid of heights.
I know.
It's so pathetic how afraid of heights we are.
So I think when it comes to
honor, don't you think?
Honor them, and respectfully talk them down, and sometimes it's just looking at the metrics, and going, hey, what is your business idea? This is a good idea. Why don't you write up a business proposal, like a business plan? That's probably a good way to kind of kick them. I mean, if they wrote up a business plan, and have you ever done a business plan?
Yeah.
It's not easy, and if they actually take the time to write it out, and then they put it all together, I mean, that shows something right there. Now, if they come over and they're like, here you go, and it's all written in crayon, you're like, I don't think you're going to present this to my father-in-law. You're not going to get any money out of this guy.
Well, you do make a good point of have them approach other people too, or maybe someone in that field, and say, hey, have you thought about talking to so-and-so? Maybe they can offer you some more advice. This is a little out of my wheelhouse, you know? And that way you're not the bad guy. And then maybe someone else can help them think through things, and you don't have to be, the bad cop.
Yeah, get your friend on the street to tell them they're an idiot.
Sure.
That's a great plan.
But I think more times than not, if somebody has a dream, and if we're going to go even, I believe people are called, and God places dreams in our hearts for a reason, then your spouse should be your biggest advocate and your biggest cheerleader, and you're gonna have doubts, and that's when your spouse should be lifting you up and saying, no, you're really good at this. Like you're just kind of playing this inner dialogue in your head, but trust me, I wish you could see what I could see in you.
Okay.
And that's
brings up a good one.
A game changer.
What about that you see your spouse, your partner, and they're not fulfilling their dreams? Okay,
good one. We
so
didn't even have a note on this.
Yeah, so like, what if you let's just say your man or your wife is
slacking,
just moseying through it,
right.
not reaching the potential. Maybe you guys started dating in high school and you thought this guy was going to be this, and then it turns out he's not. Right. How do you get this guy to kind of believe in himself? Because what can you do other than just getting another job to try to go, hey, it's your time, you can, I've got 2 jobs, go find something. Like what would you tell somebody whose significant other is failing their dreams?
I have so many good ideas.
Oh my gosh, let's go. Does it rhyme? She loves rhyming things.
No, I don't have anything for this episode that's like cute like that.
Oh.
But that's okay.
We'll work on one.
So I would say the motivation sometimes can't come from somebody super close to you.
Okay.
So I would find some kind of conference or like some kind of event they can go to just kind of get a little fire lit under their butt.
Okay.
I know there's been seasons in my life where it's like had all these things and they failed, and it's just hard to get back up. And I think my seasons are probably shorter than someone that you're describing in this scenario, because I'm really hard on myself. So I feel like I don't let myself bask in that, like, oh, I'm just gonna mail it in for too long of a season. But I've had seasons where I'm just like, I'm burnt out. And I have found leadership summits or conference or a 2-day thing, or now there's so many options through Zoom and online, you don't even have to fly there. And spending 2 days with strong leaders that are paid thousands of dollars to motivate and get excited. And sometimes that kind of can't come from your spouse. You might resent them for it, but there's so many resources out there, or a great book. Something that is maybe something you think they could be good at, or you remember once they talked about and somehow along the way they lost that dream. Gift them a book and say, hey, I really think you should read this, or encourage them. I mean, when I'm feeling down, instead of scrolling social media and knowing I'm going to just feel worse about other people's lives and how great they look, I'll listen to a TED Talk or something. So begin to allow them to dream again is what I would say to do. Because you can't motivate somebody who doesn't want to be motivated, and if they're just lazy. But people have that inside of them, and it's just been burnt for some reason, then help them rekindle it.
That's some good advice. I like that.
Thanks.
I would just call him a bum. Listen, you bum.
I didn't know scrubs. Scrubs are get no love from
I
me.
think that should be at our wedding.
That is not the song we are choreographing.
That is.
I have so many good moves now. Thank you, Melody,
yeah.
for your help on Groupon.
So I think, I think there is some level of tough love too.
Sure.
You could try to get them to read a book, or you could try to do this, but if all they want to do is just sit around and play video games, or
Now we're talking about kids, but
Yes.
kids need motivation.
yeah,
too.
that's true. That's true.
know?
I think inspiring children and giving them, the dream of how great they can be is
Yeah.
important, and then to encourage them, like
Especially if their love language is words of affirmation.
Right.
Like for us, dreams. Don't crush our dreams.
well, like
man.
Evelyn really was,
This is his daughter.
Yeah, my daughter.
She's 13.
She's 13. When she was young, she wanted to learn karate. Okay, I want to learn karate, Dad. I'm like, cool. So I put her in a karate class, and she went, and then she was actually doing really good. And one day I came in there with the camera, and I took some pictures of her, and she had this really high kicking this like pad, and it was a great picture. And then and she comes out, she looks at the picture, and she's like, "That's awesome, Dad. That's a great picture." And then I'm like, "Okay, well, we got to go to class, tomorrow." And she's like, "I'm done." I'm like, "What do you mean you're done?" She's like, "No, I got the picture. Like I'm a black belt, right, with this shot." And she never went back to another class. And so it turns out she just wanted pictures. So, then I took her into the modeling world, because she's,
Beautiful.
I tried to go, okay. I took her out of it because she started to be kind of like a little diva, a little ego, and her grades, and she was just kind of doing a little lip boxing with her friends. And so
But you've always encouraged her, and
yeah,
she's always
swimming,
Yeah.
or, I think you were going to try to get her in some theater for this summer.
Yeah.
And she's doing great in the theater stuff. She played Tinkerbell.
And I think some kids are just really good at anything they decide they want to do.
And that's the thing.
And
You-
so,
and you look at your spouse, your significant other, as
Or your kids.
as the dreamers, and encourage those dreams. And sometimes you might need to kick them in the butt and put them in something they don't want. Because maybe they will be inspired. Maybe you send them to a conference about business, but they're not enjoying that. But then they happen to meet somebody there that's doing something that
Yeah.
they can dive off that into that new world. So
yeah, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but I really do
Right.
try to challenge myself just for growth purposes, because we should never stop learning. And the reality is, most of us get a degree or something, and then we just kind of like our education in some ways stops. But I think to always, at least once a year, to find something. I mean, a book at minimum, but a podcast or a conference or something to just kind of stimulate your mind.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just think of it from a content standpoint. If I'm not having experiences, or I'm not doing different things to grow myself, then my stories and just the things I present are kind of weak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all need to be growing, and if you have a dream, it can definitely take root and be birthed quicker if you have people around you encouraging you, wise counsel, you're growing yourself in the field. I mean, like the girl with the crochet, I mean, she did so much research before she even released her first video, just trying to do the best she could to be a good steward of the gifts she felt she had. And
she's phenomenal at it.
And it sounds so trite.
And her stuff is so pretty. Like, I didn't know you could do this kind of stuff with crochet.
Yeah, I would never.
I mean, I was thinking about picking up this, but then I realized I didn't want to crochet, so I decided not to.
And so I think, and the final thing I would say is that it sounds really cliche to say pray, but if you're praying with your spouse and you're praying about your dream, like, God will be able to guide you in and just say, don't make it your own agenda. I mean, it says that God directs our steps, so just say, like, God, this is something on my heart and I'm not sure why. Can you just please, like, allow me to know if this is from you, or just put people in my.
I think you bring up something very powerful.
God is willing to do that for His children.
With your dream, make sure it's in God's path. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
If I came to you and saying, "Hey, I want to be the best money launderer in all of America," like that guy from Ozark.
Gosh.
Have you seen that TV show?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
When are they gonna do a new season?
I don't know, but
it's so good. I missed that.
If I came to you saying that was my dream, okay.
There's
no conference. There's no book you need to give me.
I wouldn't be a very good partner if I said, "Let's do it."
Yeah, she'd be like, "Okay, 200, 300, 400."
And
man, okay,
and,
let's start
and I'm
over.
like such a bad liar that we would get caught so bad. We would not be.
We get pulled over for
fine.
just a speeding ticket. You're like, "We're money laundering." I'm like, "Oh, damn, oh gosh." So I think she brings up a good point. Make sure that if you can't go to God and pray about what your new career is, maybe that is not a dream that you should be pursuing.
Definitely involve God.
Yeah. Other than that, we hope you guys learned something. Do us a favor and put a comment below what actually touched you, or what we said that was something that maybe made you think, or something that we said that was stupid.
Oh, jeez.
Probably it's going to be about my shirt or something. I get that. But make sure you say something. Let us know what you're thinking. If you have any good inspirational things we missed, the whole point of this podcast is we're getting married. And we wanted to kind of document
90 days.
90 days.
It's exactly 90 days.
90
we have
days.
a countdown.
She has a countdown.
Okay, yeah.
But it's cute. Every day I look at it.
around the numbers sometimes. I'm
do.
like, how are you at 210?
Yeah.
What happened?
I'm like, hey, you forgot to carry the 3. She's terrible with math. Again, guys.
Terrible. I know, it's
so this whole point was that we wanted to document what we know now. And as our relationship grows, we can talk about relationship stuff. So, maybe everything we said today was foolish. Maybe. And you tell us. Let us know what you think. And help us become more knowledge. We're trying to make this thing work. And she wants to use this for evidence later in court.
No,
but otherwise, you guys have a lovely day. We hope you guys learned something. And anything else?
No, we'll see you soon.
See you soon. That's